What's going on, guys? Today we're checking out Sniper Elite V2 Remastered. And this was actually sent over by Rebellion, so thanks to them to give us kind of an early look at this. They gave me a few missions that I could pick from to show in a preview. So I went ahead and literally just picked like the first mission really that you run through so I don't get too late into the game. But they did send this over so we could just do a quick look at it. This is for the Nintendo Switch. V2 Remastered is also coming out on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox, PC, and there are some additions to this game on all the different platforms. Basically, they all get kind of their own benefits. For example, the Switch, of course, is a portable system as well, so you'll have portability for that. And then they also added in the ability to use motion controls with the Switch, whether in handheld mode or in docked mode with a controller, like a Pro Controller or something like that. And then they also added all the DLC, of course. That's all added in there. It does have full multiplayer online. Up to 8 people can play, which is also really cool. And they did some remastering of the visuals. However, if you get it on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox or the PC, they did a bit more there where they did 4K HDR. And they also seem to outline a 60 frames per second mode that is available on those versions, but not the Switch version. So keep that in mind as well. If you are a big fan of Sniper Elite V2, which I remember on the 360, so it is technically a 360 game for anyone who's buying it thinking that there's some like real magic going on for the visuals. It's still a 360 game, so while it looks clearer, it still looks kind of like a 360 game. Animations and stuff are not really changed up much either. But if you're a fan of Sniper Elite or you've never played it, you hear about the new Sniper Elite 4 that they're working on, you want to get into the series, this isn't a bad starting point. It is $35 for the game on the Switch and PlayStation 4, both of which I checked earlier. And they do have like 10% off going on right now for pre-order, so you can look at that as well. But I figure we'll go ahead and get into this. Options on it, they do have, like I said, a bunch for sensitivity, which makes sense considering you're doing a lot of aiming. Your controller layout is outlined there, and then they also have motion controls that you can play around with that include the sensitivity, and then you can also invert the Y-axis. So they have a lot of stuff going there. Otherwise, though, the options are pretty minimal when it comes to the display, where we just have brightness. There's no performance mode or anything like that for the Switch. So let's actually start this guy up and play a bit. There is also a photo mode that has been included here, so if you click in both sticks at any time, you can go into photo mode and start taking pictures of, I guess, your character and the stuff around them, which is interesting. I mean, a lot of games now have photo mode, so I guess that's not too surprising. But what we're going to do is we're going to work through here, and we're gonna play a bit of this mission, just to get you guys kind of like acquainted to what this game exactly is. It's called Sniper Elite, and it's called that for a reason. You play as a sniper, as we see here. Got the big sniper there with the scope. And we get to shoot a lot of people with the sniper. And what's cool is they'll do these like slow motion zoom in things like that as you attack people and get kill shots, which is kind of neat. I mean, that was always the thing with Sniper Elite even back in the day. I played it originally on the PC back when it first came out, and then the original Xbox. And that was something they did then as well, which is really cool. So we're going to go ahead and push up here, and as we go through, you'll see we'll have a bunch of different characters that we will fight, essentially, and you'll see different times where we get these cool X-ray shots, hopefully, that are really neat as well. And then you have a lot of stealth elements that you'll get. So we're actually going to work up here and kind of stealth our way up, I guess. I did some stealth in a few of these missions that I played, but it was always more fun when you get to a point where you just start sniping people. It was much more fun doing that. But I'm sure there are a lot of people who will attempt to stealth their way through most of the mission, which you can do. You have secondary items you can use, like trip mines and all kinds of stuff. So, let me see. I'm trying to remember if there was someone there. I guess not. I know there's a bunch of people down here. We're about to get into a massive firefight here in a second. But I could probably sneak my way through, but most of you guys probably want to see a lot of the shooting and the motion control stuff. So, let me zoom in here. So, I'm using my Pro Controller, and you do get kind of that refined shot. So you basically aim in the area, and then you can technically, I think it works better up and down, right? Think of like Splatoon, for example. I think it works better up and down rather than side to side in this case. So I kind of move around, and I can get this nice pinpoint accuracy because there is bullet drop. So you want to adjust your shots for that. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to to use the motion controls for the up and down to adjust for that bullet drop that takes place in the game with gravity. They definitely emphasize that heavily. So I'm pretty sure, yep, there's some people over here across. We can see if we can get one of them. There we go, right through the head, just like that. And you get points and everything depending on what you do. So now I've alerted them, and I'm about to get shot up a lot. Like, a lot. They're about to light me up. I know there's somebody who shows up there with that gun as well. And you have more than just this gun that I'm using now. But, of course, I'm using a sniper for long-range combat, so... So I have my trip mine, my rock. The rock is funny because you have infinite rocks. You just throw them to annoy people and to, like, distract them. Let me see. Where? Ooh, I'm getting shot. So at this point, I've annoyed them. I probably could have snuck around, but... yeah, we'll just light some of them up. And the one thing I noticed, because it works well in handheld mode, the one thing I noticed about this... there we go. Got him. Oh, look at that. So you got that nice X-ray shot. Kind of reminds me of the Mortal Kombat X-rays from Mortal Kombat 9. I think this might have come out around that time, and maybe that explains why they did it. Kind of funny, though, to think about that. But the one thing I noticed, though, when playing this in handheld mode is you see how, like, everything's kind of off in the distance here? It was harder to see things because the screen was, like, smaller. Not that it was, like, blurry or anything. It's just that it, because things are so much smaller, obviously, on a, oh, he's up there, on, you know, a 6.2-inch screen or whatnot, it was harder to see what's going on as opposed to, there we go, as opposed to a bigger screen, for example, like this. That was one drawback I noticed when playing in handheld mode. Otherwise, it was fine. There's a sniper all the way over there that I gotta get. Otherwise, it was fine in handheld mode. It was smooth. It didn't really have any issues. And it was clear. I have to imagine it's just straight up 1080 to 720, like 1080p docked 720p handheld. But I'm sure there'll be like, I'm sure Digital Foundry will revisit this and give us a better idea. That sniper is still over there shooting me. So I think I just hit the sniper there. It should be a pretty long shot too. And yeah, look how far they went. Wow, okay, so hit him in the leg, jeez. So those X-ray shots are cool, but you only get them every now and then. I think if you actually hit like a certain vital like part of them, you'll get those slow shots if you get a good one and it finishes them in a single shot. Otherwise, though, it's almost like it's randomly generated. I think you can affect how often it does that actually in the there we go, in the options. You actually change how often they'll do that because they won't always hit you with those. I don't know if it's just because it's that time I got him twice. I don't know if that's just because it's like randomized. They don't want to do that to you every single time. But yeah, not every time you'll get those cool like little zoom in shots. That's one of the things that a lot of people remember Sniper Elite for, those cool zoom in shots. So I'm going to go ahead and push up here and we'll move on to the next part. Now the game does use HD rumble, or at least the rumble that they have for the Switch pretty well actually. Now with Sniper Elite, you essentially can feel your heartbeat as you play the game. So like when you're scoped in aiming at someone, you'll actually feel like the heartbeat, and you can even see your beats per minute there on the left, right? And it'll kind of go down. You can also empty your lung to try to steady your shot a bit more. But it does use HD rumble pretty well for that, to where you'll actually feel it, and it's not as like violent as like the 360 controller was for me. So it feels more, I guess, refined as you're trying to shoot. And I think HD rumble actually helps with that quite a bit. So that is actually a pretty cool part of the game, is having that the HD rumble kind of there to their advantage, to essentially convey that your character is either really, really hyped up trying to shoot, you know, they're really nervous, or they're really having a hard time for a second. And then when you empty your lung, it does slow down and kind of soften the rumble, which is, it's a pretty cool idea. And I think it just is better in this because of the HD rumble. So that's kind of a neat thing. So we just planted all of the explosives, and now the idea is we need to go up to the vantage point to shoot it when a certain I guess just cars or convoy are coming by. We're basically trying to get information from a single person, and we're going through all of this in order to do that, which is, yeah, I mean, it's a video game. But basically we're gonna get to the vantage point up top. We'll go ahead and shoot the explosives, blowing up the entire convoy, and trying to get the info. So we just got to get to the top of this building to get set up. Here's another case of the AI being very, very good. Here's the guy here. I'm just going to kind of walk up and stealth kill him. I guess they're trying to show that he's asleep, but it looked like his eyes were still kind of open, just kind of looking at me as I walk up and punch him in the throat, it looked like. But here's actually the vantage point up here. I know there are people that shoot me. I'm just going to try to jump to the top actually real quick. because it goes to a cutscene from what I remember. There's a guy in here, too. There we go. Got rid of him. I think the one issue with the HD Rumble at times, right there, it doesn't feel like my Thompson is very impactful when I fire it. And maybe they could increase, I guess, the intensity of the Rumble when you shoot your Thompson, for example, because the intensity is there for your sniper rifle. Just more or less, your Thompson just doesn't get a good hit there. So just something they could probably do to make it feel a bit more like something's happening, more impact. So let me jump up here. We'll get our cutscene, and then we'll get set up for the Vantage, and we'll blow everything up to finish it up. Okay, so there they are. I believe he's in that third car, I think. So I'm actually going to let them go by a little bit, and we'll take it out then. I'm actually going to focus time, too, because why not? Boom. So that should hopefully blow him up. And there we go. Yep, so it looks like it blew up I think that's the right car. But we get the nice explosion. Boom, I have to go down and get the information, and then we leave the level. And that'll do it for this one. Like I said, this is one of the early on levels. 7 for 1 vehicle kill, there we go. And, yep, there's our tank that rolls in that we just have to avoid. And that's going to do it here for Sniper Elite V2 Remastered. And this was the, I believe, level after the tutorial mission that they have you do. And this was the preview that they had set up for us to kind of show off, which was cool. But yeah, the Sniper Elite series is pretty neat. You're going to have to decide if this is something you want to pick up for $35, $31, I believe, right now. I think it's at least a good port, but keep in mind it is still a 360 PS3 game that they have ported over. And you have to decide what platform you also want it on, whether it's the PS4, the Xbox One, the PC, or anything like that. The Switch version, though, turned out pretty good. It looks as good as they could probably make the 360 game look without putting it in 4K HDR and everything. And the motion controls do help with people who like the motion controls aiming. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, dislike it if not, and get subscribed for all types of gaming previews, news, and all kinds of stuff. And I'll see you next time.